And here I express immediately one of the virtues of being an elder. The older I grow, the better I become in discovering possibilities. Focusing is not about offering solutions to a problem, about carrying forward in the way you interact with what comes on your path. What I really hope that can happen in this interaction of all these lovely persons is that I can serve as a bridge to a body of knowledge from which everyone can receive their next steps in carrying forward. Teaching focusing is in the first place about something that has to do with a heartfelt presence. What I try to do is always first making for myself this connection to this quality. I don't have many themes in my head about how to teach. I developed a deep trust that when I connect to the persons that are with me, even when there are 500 students, I look to them and I really make connection. And from there on, I invite them also to sense from their heart a very small bodily invitation of putting your hand on your heart and with entering, literally being in touch with the body. Then I immediately try to invite what I would call the focusing attitude. I do this in a very simple way, like welcoming yourself, making connection to the unconditional loving presence in yourself. Of course, when you have a huge group of 500 people, and depending on the kind of situation you are in, you can use many methods and skills, but it is always about finding a way to bypass the mind. That is that I immediately make the link from the heartbeat in your body to how the human being is part of the heartbeat of life. And when I give that example of putting your hand on your heart, it's only one of the many possibilities. When, for instance, you work with nature is a perfect environment to bypass the mind. Or movement can be a good way to bypass the mind. There comes a lot of creativity in, and also a lot of playfulness, bringing in the situation something more light, not this heavy thinking. In a very simple way, I introduced three very different important principles. The principle of being present myself, very grounded, making connection from this heartfelt presence in myself and the other person, inviting the other person to come in touch with the body and the focusing attitude. It has always really moved me that even when I have 500 very noisy young people in my course, they become silent. And in human culture, we have so many methods and skills that help us to reach beyond only intellectual knowledge. And the way I started was a little bit different because when I was a student at the university, my knowledge of Gendlin started at a very theoretical level. We used to read articles on Gendlin. So we read his experiential response article, his creation of meaning article, because we used to study that at the university. Much later, he came 1 month as a guest professor at our university.
In Belgium?
In Belgium, yes. And that was in 1980. I had the good luck of being a client with him in this demonstration. And that was for me like, that's it. It was the first time that someone just gave me the instructions. How does that feel in your body? And immediately I had a new response. I was suffering. I didn't know it at the time what it was, but it was like a kind of depression that had to do with a very traumatic experience by the birth of my daughter. My daughter was born and they took her away. My belly was screaming about what happened, but I wasn't aware of the connection to that traumatic experience, giving birth to my daughter. But then with Gendlin, it was the first time I really could sense, literally, the wisdom of my body. So, and from that moment on, my life changed totally. The way Gendlin accompanied me was with such a quality that I have never experienced before. Him being a man, but he was the best midwife I ever had. What I experienced as one of the big gifts of Gendlin, right from the start, I could experience his openness for the diversity that I experienced in our focusing community. And then when I look back to the beginning days, I speak of the time around 1970 and so on. The focusing community didn't reflect that kind of diversity that we actually have. For myself, I was one of the few persons working in academia. Gendlin asked me to write some of the articles in the handbooks that the prestigious editors asked him to do. I didn't think of myself as being able to write in prestigious American journals. And he said to me, you explain it better than I could do it. He was the authority. We all looked up to him. But what was for me really an experience was the way he shared authority, the way he valued all kinds of different talents. And he did it in a way that in some way he could give everyone a sense of being special. And I'm not the kind of person that makes some idol of someone. I've never had that kind of adoration that I sometimes have seen in other people. For some persons, it can also be a pitfall when you have an authority that sees that sees something in you and that expects you to become big in something. It can be a real pitfall. I think it's more that, and that's what every one of us can do, that you are sensitive to the potential that's there in the other person. The way you are with that person, you create, and that's creation, you create a situation where the other person can flourish. And that's what good parents do, that's what good teachers do. They connect to what they experience as a possibility in the other person, and they encourage that. That's exactly why focusing is for me so a heartfelt process, because it gives us a tool, a method to address that level of living, encouragement of your personal development, or where you feel, that's about me. So and that's what I tried to express in a different way when I said I love the diversity in the focusing community, because this values millions of persons with their potential. The creative invitation is so much in this method. For myself, I can say why I was so happy today with the whole day that Dissy and Bruna presenting, because we don't pass on just knowledge. We also pass on our secrets about how we cook it. That is exactly what they are doing. They are just taking something of that huge richness that's there. They transform it by their personal qualities. This is very near to my heart, because this is for me the basic principle of living forward as a community. Give every person this empowerment and not comparing yourself to someone else by thinking, oh, he or she is just so good in that and I'm not good in that. But to stay out of this evaluation, good, bad, for yourself and for the other person. What can you contribute that's just different and not better or not so good? Gendlin seemed to believe more in, let's say, my talents than I did for myself. But he was one of the inspiring persons in my environment. I'm happy that he was not the only one inspiring person. Being an elder in this Weeklong, I didn't expect that it would be such a joy for me. And I was wondering for myself, what makes it so joyful? Now being myself an elder, I really value to continue that spirit of Gendlin. I really love it to encourage everyone to, on the place where you are, to develop your way of bringing this into the world.